Hello everyone and welcome back to our next Unbroken Bonds mini video where we are now going to be taking a look at all the fire type Pokemon in the set. So you have RESHIRAM and Charizard GX starting us off, probably the most hyped card, not only because of the fantastic artwork in all of its versions, but also because it's insanely powerful attacks. Has now 270 HP, which is already in the higher numbers for tag teams. Only Magikarp and Wailord has more than that currently. And we have the Outrage attack, dealing 30 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Obviously 270 damage is not an easy number to do in one hit. Even a fully powered Dangerous Road GX needs damage modifiers in order to hit that humongous 270 HP, so basically anytime you attack into the RESHIRAM and Charizard GX, you probably just have to assume that it's gonna get return KO'd, or whatever attacked it is probably going to be return KO'd. So you have to be very strategic in terms of how much damage you're going to initially do to RESHIRAM and Charizard GX and how you're going to follow that up. And that means RESHIRAM and Charizard GX does benefit from running healing in your deck, and we recently saw the Japanese winning deck from the last Champions League included a Miltank, which with its ability when it's active does allow you to heal 90 damage for every energy you attach to your Pokemon or something like that. So definitely something to watch out for. Now, next up we have Flame Strike, a very solid standard. 230 damage. This Pokemon can't use Flare Strike during your next turn. Of course, we know there are many ways to bypass this this setback or this drawback, right? Especially switching cards have been fantastically popular in the past couple of months, and of course we have good old Guzma to pull that off as well. And finally we have Double Blaze, which deals 200 damage for 3 fire energy, which that in itself is already a very nice amount of damage for the cost. However, if this Pokemon has 3 extra fire energy attached to it, this attack does 100 more damage, and this attack's damage is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So essentially, for 6 energy you deal 300 damage, enough to 1-hit KO opposing RESHIRAM and Charizard GXs, enough to 1-hit KO even Magikarp and Wailord tag team, therefore every other Pokemon that exists right now in the standard metagame. Getting those extra 3 fire energies shouldn't be a problem with the use of Welder and hopefully Kiawe in turn 1 for RESHIRAM and Charizard GX. So definitely a lot of potential here. The Flame Strike dealing 230 damage means that with a choice band you're dealing 260, therefore you're 10 damage off from 1-hit KOing and opposing RESHIRAM and Charizard GX. So Professor Cuckoo is the only way that we can increase that damage output, so the mirror matches for this card are not just going to be whoever powers up first wins. Now, next up in our fire type list of Pokemon, we have Arcanine with its 140 HP as a stage 1. Its attack for 3 fire energies, Grand Flame, you deal 110 damage and you attach 2 fire energy cards from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon, so the energy acceleration is definitely welcome. And with the use of Welder, the attack cost doesn't seem that bad, but there's things like Flareon GX which essentially do the same effect, set up a very nice 2-hit KO, and only require 1 energy to do it. And finally we have Heat Tackle dealing 190 damage, and this Pokemon does 50 damage to itself. I believe Arcanine's issue is the really high attack costs, right? But other than that, it's a solid card, just we'll never see play because the damage output it has just doesn't quite match what you get from other Pokemon like the tag teams. Next up we have Darmanitan, another stage 1 fire type Pokemon. We have Find Wildfire, where you search your deck for 3 fire energy cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. This, once again, it seems like a good effect, but we have an item card called Wire Flint that can do that for without ending your turn, right? You can get the fire energies in your hand and then get an attack off, so very redundant. And then we have Flare Blitz dealing 110 damage, and you discard all fire energy from this Pokemon. So very subpar Darmanitan, never gonna see any sort of competitive play, unlike this Volcanion. Volcanion is actually a really powerful card, 120 HP, and then it helps offset its first attack Flare Starter, helps offset the disadvantage that you are in if you go second by losing the coin flip, because its attack lets you search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. And if this is your first turn, you search your deck for 3 fire energy cards instead and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So if you're going first, you're not going to be able to attach more than 1 energy with Flare Starter, so it's not very cost effective. But if you go second, you get 3 energies in play immediately onto something like RESHIRAM Charizard GX. So it's essentially another sort of Kiawe, but with a hefty 120 HP and a very solid attack in Feverish Explosion, which deals 50 damage. And if you have 4 fire energy or more in play, this attack does 60 more damage. So a lot of synergy with its first attack as well. Volcanion should be making its way into Reshiram and Charizard decks, at least in a one-off copy, but maybe even more as a good starter for the deck. Next up, we have Litten. I'm not sure why this card is not ignored, but Caturday is interesting. You draw a card and then this Pokemon is asleep. Bug Bite, the defending Pokemon can retreat during your opponent's next turn, a bit too costly for a 60 HP basic. You don't invest 3 energies to deal 60 damage, but who knows. Next up we have Incineroar with its ability Strong Yell. All your Pokemon's attacks do 3 more damage against your opponent's active Pokemon, and you can't apply more than 1 Strong Yell at a time. So think of a stage 2 to have a permanent 30 damage bonus. That seems a bit more cost effective than running something like a Butterfree line. There might be some decks that benefit from running a one-on-one line of Incineroar that are already running Rare Candies, maybe even some Mechanium decks. But overall, you should be aware of your deck's damage output, and I don't think there ever will be a deck that justifies including a stage 2 just to get that extra damage output on your Pokemon. Next up we have Salazzle with its ability Rose Reveal, where once during your turn you may discard a fire energy from your hand and then you draw 3 cards. Now this Salazzle, a pretty powerful card, not gonna lie. A combo of Blaze against Salazzle reminds me of the good old Blaze against Delcatty decks of many years ago. However, as you can see, there's a lot of fire type support in this set. Salazzle is just another card that supports fire types, and if there's any deck that doesn't mind having fire energies in the discard pile, it will certainly benefit from Salazzle. With the new Flame Crystal cards, Energy Retrieval, and many other cards that synergize with fire energy, something like a Charizard and Reshiram Salazzle deck does not seem like anything crazy, and we'll probably see a lot of play. Finally, for our fire types, we have Blacephalon, 120 HP basic. It's the first non-GX Blacephalon ever released. It is an Ultra Leaf, and it has some very interesting attacks. First up, we have Blazer, which deals 10 damage, and then you flip one of your face-down prize cards face up. If that card is a fire energy, this attack does 50 more damage. So just like its GX counterpart, it has attacks related to a lot of fire energies and also the prizes. And then we have Flame Bolt Circus, which deals 50 damage, and you may discard as many fire energy cards from your hand as you like. And then this attack does 50 damage for each card discarded that way. So with Flame Crystal, with Fire Flint, with Energy Retrieval, this has the potential to do a lot of damage. As I mentioned, the previous card Salazzle, it could also synergize pretty nicely with Blacephalon, because yes, you discard a fire energy in order to draw 3 cards, and then you get back those fire energies after you've drawn a bunch of cards, and you are able to deal essentially 1 KO every turn with Flame Bolt Circuit. So a lot of potential in this Blacephalon. I'm sure it's going to see play, and it might be combined with its GX counterpart as well. And so that will cover all the fire type Pokemon from Unbroken Bonds. Next up, we are going to be reviewing all the water type Pokemon to see how good they actually are. Thanks so much for watching and catch you in the next video.